Francis Ngannou fought earlier this month in the PFL. Biggest fight that the PFL did this year, so his name has been in the MMA media a lot lately and got brought up to Dana White because him and Dana White have a long history. So Ngannou's name got brought up to him at the post-fight press conference that Dana held for the Power Slap event held in Abu Dhabi.
Most of the MMA fans dream about seeing a fight between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou. What do we need to have in this world to make this happen?
I think fans are dreaming about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. That's the fight I think they're dreaming about.
Yes.
I think that if Stipe wins the fight or Jon Jones wins the fight, the way that both of those guys are wired, I think they fight Aspinall. So we'll see.
But just as like a fight fan, what did you make of Francis's performance, given everything that's happened to him in his career, the 2 losses in boxing, the loss of his son?
It was better than Don Davis's. Way better. Listen, man, I think that I'm going to tell you what I think about what Francis is all about the money. Francis left because he knew that if he fought Jon Jones and didn't win, it would hurt his chances of making the money that he wanted to make. But realistically, his deal was bigger here. His deal was bigger here if he stayed in the UFC. I think I've told this story a million times. They can deny it all they want. Why the fuck would I lie? What do I care? It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I was going to cut Francis when he lost 2 in a row. I was going to cut him.
That was after the Derek Lewis
Yeah.
fight?
Somebody around here begged me not to do it. And, so it wouldn't have mattered to me one way or the other, There's a much deeper story to this whole thing, and he would have made more money if he stayed in the UFC. So he didn't want to fight Jon Jones. That's a fact, my friend. We're moving on. Obviously, everybody loves Tom Aspinall and wants to see Jones and Aspinall or Stipe and Aspinall. And I feel like when Stipe and Jon were young, Jon was 23, youngest champion ever in UFC history, and somebody gave him an opportunity. And I think that Stipe and Jon, whoever wins, should give Aspinall the same opportunity they had.
So all these rumors of Jon and Stipe both retiring, have you talked to them about that at all? Or you just hope
Yeah, I think that both Jon and Stipe will say they're going to retire because they're going to start negotiating, and whatever the negotiation is, we will get the deal done.
PFL founder Don Davis has been talking a lot about the UFC lately, and his name also got brought up to Dana White's.
Well, speaking of numbers, actually, I was going to wait for a little while, but PFL guy Don Davis brought up numbers.
That guy's hilarious.
He said that his event last Saturday with Francis Ngannou beat any event with the numbers, beat any event the UFC had put on this year. I'm curious if you could disagree with that, and how does it even compare to Power Slap, the PFL numbers?
Yeah. First of all, the PFL should keep the UFC out of their mouth. They can't even deal with Power Slap. Power Slap destroys PFL. All right? It's weird that you asked me that question because I just happen to have some papers here. So, first of all, let's start with followers. Power Slap has 19.2 million followers. PFL has 10. Video views. PFL Fight Week did 326 million. Power Slap 8 did 690 million. Okay? PFL Fight Week Instagram views, 76 million. Power Slap 9, the week of. This is, so if you look at PFL, the fight week and the aftermath, these guys had 76. Just the week of, they had 68 million on Power Slap. Okay? And we haven't even had a fight yet. PFL's Instagram reel with Francis and Ronaldo did 14 million views. Power Slap's 9 Instagram reel with contender Isaiah had 22 million views. And that was a repost of an old fight. The repost of the old fight beat Francis and Ronaldo. I can keep going on for a fucking month here. And then if you want to get into what he said about the UFC, I have a laundry list here. But let me just start with this. UFC Vegas 84 at the Apex beat them. So, listen, I understand, and I love the stuff that he said. He sounds like Kamala. Talks a lot, but says nothing. And I would hate to be one of that guy's investors. I don't watch MMA. I've worked 7 years and haven't taken a vacation. You should probably take a vacation. You're out of your fucking mind, dude. You should probably take a vacation.
What I was going to say.
I have a list here. I will have Lene get you guys this list of all these numbers, but that guy shouldn't even mention the UFC. He's not even in power slaps. And then he was talking about, there's all kinds of combination packages and how all this works. He doesn't beat power slap in revenue. He doesn't beat power slap in ticket sales. He doesn't beat power slap in sponsorship. He doesn't beat power slap in anything, let alone the UFC.
Another interesting note is that if Islam Makhachev wins his next fight against Arman Sarukian, Dana White is open to Makhachev fighting in the welterweight division.
One more question about John Jones. In your pound-for-pound list, he's number one. So, but on the paper, it's Islam Makhachev number one. What should Islam do or achieve to overcome John Jones in your pound-for-pound list?
Yeah, I understand. What should he do? Just keep doing what he's doing. You just keep doing what you're doing. He hasn't done it as long as John Jones has, and he hasn't done it as consistently as Alex Pereira has. I mean, really, when you talk about now, if you guys argued with me and said, we think you're wrong, we think Alex Pereira is number one and Jones is number two, I could probably live with that. And I know it sounds like I'm shitting on him, but I don't. I love Islam. He's a great kid. He's a hard worker. He fights everybody. I'm just being honest.
It seems like...
And if you look at Pereira, he moved from middleweight to light heavyweight and has been absolutely dominant, a weight division higher. And he's even considering going to heavyweight. So when you talk about what pound for pound really means...
Does Islam not get more credit for beating Charles Oliveira, who was number 3 pound for pound, and then Volkanovski, who was number 1 pound for pound at the time? Does that not put more weight? I don't think any of Alex's wins were against anyone ranked on that.
Any of Alex? Yeah, but he was fighting a guy a lower weight than him, not a guy higher weight than him. When you actually move up, when you think about what pound for pound means, right? What would happen if you weighed, 155 pounds and you faced a heavyweight? These guys are actually moving up in weight, not moving down in weight. And yes, Islam beat him in one of the fights. Many people thought that he didn't win that fight, with a guy who was lighter than him.
Islam seems to really want to go to welterweight, so would you give him that opportunity maybe if he gets through this next one?
Absolutely.
And going back
yeah,
to...
listen, and let me just say, you don't need to defend it. I love Islam. I love the kid, and I'm not shitting on him. I'm just saying what the pound for pound really means is, if you look at what Alex has done. And again, John Jones, I mean, come on. John Jones is undefeated. He's never lost a fight in the octagon, ever. So it's just hard to fuck with.
Khamzat had some complimentary words for Trump, so Trump says he's a great fighter. Trump's supposed to be on Joe Rogan's podcast on Friday.
Khamzat is going to Mo Whitaker. Whitaker will do fucking nothing.
Kamala Harris declined to be on Joe Rogan's podcast. She would get absolutely dog-walked on JRE, bud. No script, no talking points, ain't her thing, bud. After getting the $375 million from the antitrust lawsuit settlement with the UFC, extortion attempts on us, the MMA Fighters Association, and scam attempts on fighters started quite literally as soon as we left the courthouse. It is gross, but we should not be shocked, yet we always are. Buckle up! Gregory Rodriguez, who's on a 3-fight win streak, wants a top 15 opponent next, but he says a lot of guys are running.
His friend. And how about that crew? John Anik pounding a beer.
Save some for me, boys.
Felder's drinking water.
DC.
And what is DC doing?
We got to get DC up on stage.
Oh, my goodness.
You like that condensed milk? You like that?
Gives it some earth.
You love it.
Nice and earthy.
All right.
And my bowl.
But it's not nothing. And it's certainly not just happiness. It's certainly not better than happiness. But it's almost unbearable.